Tim Hawkinson's BodyCon exhibit has arrived to UT. Some of his most famous sculptures throughout his career are showcased at the R.K. Bailey Art Studio. Francesca Bacci, a professor of art history, is the woman responsible for bringing this world-renowned artist.
This exhibition features Tim Hawkinson. He's an artist from California who works a lot on an idea of the body and the awareness of being in a human body as his main theme, which is why we titled it BodyCon.
Tim's artwork is inspired by body awareness, and most of the materials he uses are common bought items. During his visit, he was able to meet with some art students. Junior Jody Minnis was one of the lucky few.
I was one of the students allowed to actually have a one-on-one tour through the gallery with him, and he went through the work and he explained in depth some of the concepts and processes that went into creating the work.
Senior John Gurneri was a bit intimidated at first when working with Tim.
Well, when we first heard that Tim was coming, it was pretty exciting. I'd previously learned about Tim through my contemporary art class, my art history class, and it was a little intimidating when I first heard that he was coming here and he, wanted to interact with the student population.
Apart from sharing some of his wisdom, Tim started working on the concept of a new sculpture with the students, where he even gave a helping hand.
And then we came up with a few designs, with 10 designs total, and we settled on this, which is a mock-up actually of what's going to be the final product. So we wanted to incorporate something that related to this exhibition for Mr. Hawkinson is called BodyCon, and that has to do with how he views his body, how other people view his body.
Now, let's take a quick tour of some of Tim's most iconic pieces, led by Professor Bacci.
This is the piece that opens the exhibition, and it's called Head Vase, and is the earliest piece we have here. It's from the 80s. At the time, Tim Hawkinson was concluding his studies and starting his career, and he was still looking at symbolism as an inspiration. In symbolist art, you have a motif that's called the floating head, and it symbolizes the idea of our thoughts and dreams of the unconscious brought out in the world. This piece is particularly interesting as an opening of the show because it shows the inside of a human body and how it affects the outside around it, with this idea of the flowers coming out of the head being like a vase. And this interplay between inside and outside is something that Tim Hawkinson cultivates very much in his work and develops through several ideas. The other thing that's curious about this piece, it can be installed even upside down from how you see it, and it's actually painted on a seat of a chair. It's titled, unassumingly, Hose. It is a little hose, but if you're wondering what's so special about this piece, and I'm going to stand next to it for scale reasons, so you can see how small it is, this is actually made of eggshells. Again, found objects as a good ingredient to use for art making. And actually the artist had to consider very carefully the curvature of each eggshell to be able to grind down the piece he wanted and then glue it together, as you can see here, into a naturalistic looking hose. This is a showstopper, if I might say so. It's beautiful, three-dimensional rotating sculpture, motorized by the artist. It's a gimbal because it has two forms of motion. So it rotates onto his axis and then it rotates counterclockwise, hanging from the ceiling. The artist made this by taking apart a bamboo curtain and reconfiguring it in this spectacular shape. The shape is a clay bottle. A clay bottle is a three-dimensional figure that has an inside that then unfolds onto an outside. And so that's the reason for the title, Gimbal Klein Basket. I would like to have you observe how this is wired. The artist makes all the mechanisms by himself. A lot of artists have fabricators, which means that they outsource certain skills by commissioning the work to outside workers. Tim Hawkinson does everything by himself, even carving the wheels of this mechanism and building the motor, the engine to run it. And up into the ceiling, you can see that there is actually an orange cable, and if you follow it, you will see that the piece is actually wired through another artwork made by knotting up an extension cord. This is Bikini. It's a very ironic, fun piece, which actually feeds the electricity all the way to the gimbal climb basket.
The BodyCon exhibit will be on display until November 3rd. Don't miss out on this one-of-a-kind art show. For the Minaret, I'm Alejandro Romero.